let's talk a little broader now, because Joe Biden is determined that there will be no conflict over Taiwan, and to be more cordial and have this conversation. You're hoping to appeal to Xi Jinping about Taiwan, but on the other hand, you're kind of tightening the screw on the Chinese economy.
Well, I think, I don't think so. I think there have been, unfortunately, going back some period of time, there have been economic barriers that have been put in place, which President Biden is hopeful we can now talk about seriously and deal with this. And my hope is that the green light that has been given by virtue of the meeting of our two presidents, I hope shines bright enough and long enough that it will allow us to be able to deal with the climate issue and to deal not just with the issues here at the COP, but broadly to deal with how we are going to cooperate together for all of humanity.
You know, what is the best way for Joe Biden to ensure that his desire to stop China invading Taiwan is delivered? Because, you know, if you have a standoff over Taiwan which erupts, it does bleed into the climate issue. Of course it must.
Well, let's be very clear about this. The United States has had a consistent China policy, Taiwan policy, for years now, through Republican and Democrat presidents alike. And that policy recognizes, and was reiterated today by President Biden, there is one China. And the agreement has been that the United States would provide the capacity to defend itself, that China does not invade, but that there is one China, and that over time, our desire has always been that there would be a working out of this difference between Taiwan and China. But we've said to Taiwan, we will not support independence. That has been a long time policy of the United States. And I think, you know, President Biden reiterated today the one China policy. And so we're hopeful that issue also can be worked out in the way that it ought to be, which is peacefully, without threats, without certainly the prospect of war.
Now, finally, in a slightly different vein, America has a tradition of veteran politicians. But do you think that Joe Biden should run in 2024, or should it be a candidate from a different generation?
Well, let me just be very direct about that. I am hatched, as they say. I'm not allowed to engage in politics. But would I, you know, what would I say as an observer on the sideline? I think Joe Biden's done an extraordinary job as president. I think he has a legislative record that is better than any president since Lyndon Johnson. He's achieved an enormous amount in the COVID fight, and the infrastructure fight, in the children's health, as well as in the climate sphere, and with his support for Ukraine and the strengthening of NATO. And you can